Hey everybody, welcome into the back room. I'm Andy Ostroy. We have Kara Swisher back with us today. We'll chat with Kara in just a second, but first, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you listening, and we'd love to hear your comments. So email us at backroomandy@gmail.com and or post on our social media, and we'll read some feedback next time. And if you like the podcast, please follow or subscribe and rate and review, and you'll be notified every time we post a new episode. So, Kara Swisher, she is the host of the podcast On with Kara Swisher, and the co-host of the Pivot podcast with Scott Galloway. Both are distributed by New York Magazine. She was the co-founder and editor-at-large of Recode, and host of the Recode Decode podcast, and co-executive producer of the Code Conference. She was a former contributing opinion writer for the New York Times, and host of its Sway podcast. And she has also worked for the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. Burn Book is her third book, and the paperback edition is now available with a brand new afterword. Kara, welcome back into the back room.
Thank you.
Congrats on the release of the paperback.
Thanks. I'm very excited.
Comes with a new afterword. So the first question, before we get into the book and the craziness of the day, I just interviewed Michael Ian Black this morning. I know you recently were on
he's funny.
The show. That looks like a real fun show to be on.
You know, they tape it longer than it comes off, so you miss a ton of very good jokes they have on there, actually, including my own, by the way. No.
Well, I like the joke you made about him when you said there was four lesbians. On the...
I know. It's really fun and actually very smart, and it's very smart about current events, and obviously the three of them are really well suited. I love Roy. I know Roy pretty well. I've interviewed him before, Roy Wood Jr., and I love every single. Amber Ruffin is amazing. She's going to do the White House Correspondents' Dinner here. Good luck, Amber. Good luck, Amber. She's good. That should be a really weird.
Well, that's a thankless job, no matter who.
Well, I suspect the Trump people won't go, just like they didn't go to the gridiron.
Carolyn Levitt, Levitt.
Yes, who cares?
She said she's not going. I don't know.
Yeah, well, nobody cares. Nobody cares about Tracy Flick, the PR person. So whatever, Tracy, whatever. She's like, 12, and just seems to have taken PR from she's just, we'll see. I'm sure, whatever.
She's pretty horrible.
She's no Kellyanne Conway. No, I mean, anyway.
She's no Kellyanne Conway or McEnany. It's kind of a close call.
No, I think she was better.
Kelly McEnany, I meant.
She was better?
She's better at lying than Carolyn Levitt is.
I don't think I don't think they slather them. I think Jen Psaki was the last good one we had, I think, of all of both Democratic and Republican.
Well, that was the other team.
But that's okay. I mean, she just was. There was a good one there, I would say so. I'm just Sean Spicer, no. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, no.
No, hell no.
I guess Kylie, whatever. She wins, but it's a low bar.
Yeah. And it's interesting what you said about the CNN show is that I asked Michael about the editing, and he said it's usually about 2 hours, then they cut it down. And most of what's cut down is the bad jokes.
No, that's not true. I had a great time. I thought the taping was fun. It has a fun studio audience. I didn't think there were very many bad jokes at all, actually. I thought it was really well done. And it's fun. It's super fun.
It's my favorite show right now for a lot of
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really
So let's talk about the book. Could you ever have imagined when you wrote Burn Book that this billionaire tech bro, Elon Musk, that you had followed, covered for so many years, would literally soon become like co-president of the United States? Was that even anywhere in your realm?
No, he was not very political, I would say. I mean, the first sign of politics is when he actually, he liked Obama, as I recall, and I thought, he wasn't, but people in Silicon Valley were not that political. They were sort of anti-political. In a lot of ways. Gates was always like, I don't go to Washington. I would say they were libertarian light because they weren't the smartest jacks in the block when it came to politics. They didn't study history. So I wouldn't even know. I think it was just whatever was in their self-interest was what I expected from all of them. So I was never really aware. And him, I got the sense he liked Obama and he didn't love the Bushes. I don't even know. That's the thing. I didn't even know. And I don't think he definitely didn't like Trump, although he did join his business council. So did many people, by the way. Not all the people did. And he did go to that meeting that they had. Right. He was, but he wanted to push back against anti-immigration and anti-gay and lesbian stuff, if you can believe it, and LGBTQ plus. So So I don't really know what exactly happened to him.
And so you write in the afterword, you write about the key difference between the tech billionaires of Trump 1.0 and 2.0.
Right.
You say at this time they want to reign like kings, not just over tech, but over everything, everywhere, and all at once. And that the old Facebook maxim of, quote, move fast and break things is now more like move fast and crush everyone. So how did we land there?
Well, it was sort of a natural extension as they're so successful financially. They think to suddenly start to know about other things. They're experts in one thing. That means it extends. They think money extends them intelligence, and it doesn't. And you've noticed this with Doge, and there's so many fuck ups. It's like if they ran their companies like this, they wouldn't be this rich, right? And so you see a lot of errors, a lot of misunderstanding of history or politics or various things. Even down to PR. I mean, I never thought they were particularly good at PR, but like that visual of all of them standing like little China dolls, on Trump's shelf was just weird, like little figurines and porcelain, made of porcelain. They just look like they were bought and paid for or they paid and then they were bought, essentially. And so that was sort of like, why would you let a photo like that go out looking like a bunch of like toadies and factotums? And so they're not very smart about everything, even if they may be rich or they're smart about one thing. And I think that's sort of come through loud and clear.
And there seems to be a difference between Musk and the other Broligarchs. Like, I can sort of understand with them, it's a lot of fear of regulation, fear of whatever.
Sure.
But then Musk, he doesn't seem afraid. What's at the core of the relationship between him and
Trump? He's more of a risk taker. They all kind of admire when he fired everybody. They did. They wouldn't have done it, and then he did it. And they're like, ooh, look at that. He's always been that guy who always does, does the crazy thing, and then it tends to pay off. When it comes to blowing up rockets, he'll blow up the rocket, and then he's had 8 Starship launches, and only 2 of them have worked, right? The rest have blown up in some fashion or completely blown up. So he's a risk taker in a lot of ways. And they're not. And so a lot of them, it depends on each one. They're very different. I think Tim Cook doesn't want to have trouble. I think he liked to stay in the background as he did. He wasn't in that photo. Sam Altman just wants to not get screwed by Musk, who hates him. So he has to show up. And that makes sense to me from a shareholder perspective of OpenAI and the ability of OpenAI to continue to dominate. I suspect Bezos kind of likes it. Like, you get the sense he kind of likes it. And at the same time, he wants to get in on the space travel stuff. And, Bezos has never been non-conservative. He was always the most conservative of all of them because he was a Wall Street guy before he started. He was older. He was always conservative. I never thought of him as a liberal in any way whatsoever. His wife has been, but his ex-wife has been, but not him particularly. And again, no politics that I could discern. And then I think Sundar Pichai just got caught there, and it's like, how am I standing here? And Zuckerberg, anything to do with improving Meta's chances or Facebook's chances, he does. So he has no values whatsoever that I can discern, or I've been able to discern over the years.
But a lot of people say that Musk, he's in it for the money. He's in it like
a little bit.
Can that really be it? I mean, you're the richest.
No, it's not in it for that's such an easy reductive thing. It's not in it for the money. He does like being the world's richest human, so he'd like to stay that way for sure. I think he loves it. I think he thinks it's a badge of honor. I think he uses it. He pushes people around because of it. They don't question him. And if you do, well, he's the world's richest man. Like, he knows better than you. I'm like, at being rich? Yes. Okay, sure. So I think it's not money, it's that sort of the dominance of the things he has. He would like his AI to be in front. He would like to run all the space stuff. He would like to run all the geopolitical, global positioning systems through Starlink. Nobody else can compete. He wants to dominate, and that money is the way you dominate. And so that's why he wants the money. Same thing is he's sort of curdled as a person for a variety of reasons. And so he has these sort of wacky theories about a lot of things that I think are wacky, just wacky. And he has the means and the opportunity to do something about it. And, he gets some idea in his head that a government is he's very dramatic that the U.S. government is failing, and it's been failing for a long time now, And so I think that he's just gotten, he's got a hair up his ass about the U.S. government and what it means. And, and he also has, all kinds of weird personal foibles and
well, that's where I was kind of leading towards, because the business stuff and the control and the dominance, like I get all that, and that's very logical. But it also seems like the argument could be made that, especially in the last 4 months or so, that he's kind of going like Howard Hughes batshit crazy here. Like,
yes, I have said that. Yeah. I said, someone asked me where he was going to end up, and I said Howard Hughes. Yeah. Another brilliant entrepreneur, interesting thinker, very big in aviation. Mentally ill. I don't think. Well,
but is
Elon's
that, you think
quite as
something
mentally
like that
ill
is actually taking place? Like, is there something?
Well, come on. Talk about when he tweets, when he's online, he's manic. He's clearly he's talked about his drug issues. He doesn't think they're an issue. He thinks they're great. It's been well reported, his use of psychedelics and things like that. I don't know. He's big into raves and things like that, and it probably affects him, and he doesn't seem to sleep. I suspect he doesn't eat well. He probably medicates more than most people, but I don't know. I have no idea. That's what has been written in various reports, and I don't disbelieve them. So I don't know. He's just manic, and he doesn't have a life of any, he's New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago, and you're the world's richest man. Would that be the choice you would make? If you had all the money in the world to be at Mar-a-Lago dancing to YMCA. I wouldn't go there if
I was broke ass. Like, that's not
I know, exactly. So I don't know. He just has a lot of bad choices.
But the key difference between him and Howard Hughes is that Howard Hughes didn't have such power and dominance in the running of the government and globally. No.
But Henry Ford did. Henry Ford certainly was very influential. He was one of the big influential people. So I don't know about that.
But he wasn't batshit crazy. He was an anti-Semite. But
some people thought. Some people thought so. So I don't think, maybe he wasn't as malevolent. That's for sure. He didn't like Henry Ford. If you mushed Henry Ford with Howard Hughes, I think you'd come to Elon Musk.
So what did you think of the free taxpayer-paid White House Kessler? Notice I said Tesla infomercial.
I heard you. I thought it was ridiculous. It was so full of grift and so many conflicts. It doesn't really matter. These people don't care, and no one's going to go after them. So, but we can still call it what it is, which was grift and an infomercial by the president to help his pal out who paid for his presidency. So that's all. I don't know if it's no more complex than Elon doing a Nazi salute. That's what it was, people. Stop debating it. That's what it was.
Well, we know it was a Nazi salute because he just tweeted that Hitler didn't murder millions of people. So,
did he do that today?
He did that, I think, yesterday or the day before. So during that infomercial, Trump whined that Musk has been treated so unfairly. We really should feel sorry for all these poor mistreated billionaires.
No, I don't feel. Look, consumers are just speaking with their feet. Like, they don't want the car. And by the way, let me get away from the politics of Elon Musk. First of all, he's antagonized his user base because they're all liberal. Anyone who buys an EV has an idea thinks global warming is a problem, right? Initially. So you don't antagonize your user base. I'm sorry, your consumer. That's what he did. So that was his damn fault for doing that. And even if you don't agree with him, well, fine. I don't have to buy your stupid car. There's plenty of choices. The second thing, there's lots of competition. Tons more competition happening than ever before. Lots of choices. There weren't choices before, but now there are. And by the way, thirdly, he hasn't innovated on the product in a very long time. That company is selling the same damn car. And the only offering they have that's new is the Cybertruck. And who the fuck wants to buy that, right? And so, I guess some, men overcompensating for some other issues.
I think the requirement is you have to have a very small penis.
Small TDE, right. I don't get what away from all the politics, he's providing a less than innovative product, which was innovative at the time, but things change. Clogs used to be cool and then they weren't, and maybe they're back being cool again. Back. But I don't find this to be that. And then I don't want to buy your damn car. And then the people that he's now appealing to, the MAGA people, don't want to buy EVs. And if they want to buy EVs, they want the Ford 150 electric, which may I say, is a great car. I don't know if they're still making it, but it's great. I tested it. It's wonderful. So they're not going to buy, it doesn't matter. They're not going to buy an electric car. They want the Ford 150. They want the Dodge Wrangler, whatever the heck. And the Jeep even has a very nice hybrid, very nice hybrid. And so to me, she's not making products people want. And if they want to protest it, they're well within their rights to do so. Lots of Christians that protested Disney because they didn't like the gays getting things. Gays protested against it.
Kara, that's different.
I'm just saying people have a long line of ability to protest, and I'm all down. I'm down for it.
So you don't think So you don't think protesting is domestic terrorism? Is that what I'm?
No, I don't. It's ridiculous. Pam Bondi is such a ridiculous person. Like it's ridiculous. No, what is it? It's the Department of Justice for Elon Musk? No, people can protest. Yeah, here's what they shouldn't do: light these things on fire. They shouldn't do damaging, violent things. I think we all can agree on that. But if they want to stand in front with Trump with Elon with a Nazi thing, all power to them. They should be able to do that and exercise their free speech, which is something Elon really believes in.
Well,
me too.
And so when you think about what you've been saying, when you think about the stock prices down 45-50%, his net worth is so inextricably tied to that. So his net worth is cratering. You think of the protests. You think of the sales that are declining. They were
going to decline anyway, just so you know.
Sure.
They were going to.
But he's also become...
It's down 5% today. Wow.
He's an incredibly unpopular figure in this country right now. He was on TV with an interview the other day. He was agreeing that there's a lot of challenges, and he looked like he was going to cry at one point. Our mutual pal, Rick Wilson, wrote a book and says all the time, everything Trump touches dies. Are we at the beginning stages of seeing that play out? No.
No. I mean, if you bought Tesla at the beginning, you're up 18,000%. So I don't know
Musk
about
himself, just in the last 60-day window, look at how his life...
Yeah, I'm looking. Year to date is down 37%. Tesla is a big part of his wealth. Yeah, but he does have Starlink, but even that's getting affected because all these European governments are like, we're not going to use Starlink. We're going to use, the European satellite group. Or Bezos is actually in the market right now for that. There's Chinese are like, he's going to get his head handed to him on Starlink now when he was way ahead with a product that was good, and he's going to do the same thing. He's not going to innovate on it.
His decision to invest in Trump 2.0, is that ROI going to prove to be a disaster?
Well, initially it did very well. He doubled his wealth. What's his wealth right now? Right now, it's the ROI is good. Let me look. Well, $335 billion. It was up to 400 and some, but then when it started, it was 200. So yeah, he's up.
But apart from the stock, his reputation, his standing, the future of Tesla, perhaps, it seems to have fucked up considerably since he got in bed with Trump. I guess that's the point I'm making.
I don't think he cares about Tesla. He's moved on. His whole game are two things: the space race and being part of two things: the space race and AI that his company will dominate. And so he's putting himself in the pole position to dominate in AI, because the president is going to determine a lot of the winners and losers in this area in the next couple of years. He'll be in a position to do so. So the two things he's interested in next, he's in a pole position. I would not count him out by any means.
And so you think this bromance or transactional relationship, however we want to define it, you think it's got a long shelf life?
I think longer than people think. I think that unless Elon does something, it's good for Trump. He gets the money. He gets the scary boogeyman. It worked with the Democrats. We can't vote against the government shutdown. For the government shutdown, we can't let the government shut down. I don't think they're voting for it because Elon will close everything. It stopped him. He's the boogeyman. So that's really good for Trump. He's got money. He can threaten to primary people. He's got sort of the world's richest man working for him. Elon's enough of a beta around him and he's got some kid with him that the president seems to like. Talk
about creepy. I gotta say,
it is creepy. I don't want to go into it. It's just creepy. That poor kid. Years from now, many years therapy. Years from now. So he gets all the pluses. Trump. The only thing Trump gets is if Elon says stupid things like Social Security, right? We should cut it. It's a Ponzi scheme. That's it. But they can say, Elon. That's what they do. Well, Who knows what he's going to say? So that seems fixable. So far, he hasn't done anything that's really problematic for Trump. And for Elon, he seems to be enjoying himself. And he's, many things I think about Elon Musk is I remember running him once into a party. It was a Vanity Fair Oscar party. And he's like, did anyone fix me upward? And I was like, oh my fucking God. He wasn't the world's richest man there, but he was plenty rich. And I sort of thought he seemed lonely. I was like, oh no, I'm going to go over here with whoever I was dating. You know what I mean?
He's at New Year's Eve with Mar-a-Lago. New Year's Eve. He's lonely. He's beyond lonely.
I don't feel sorry for him. It's just, it's lonely. He has a deep loneliness in his heart.
Well, it proves that money doesn't buy happiness, does it?
He has friends. He does surround himself, but they all laugh at his jokes. That's what I used to. I remember walking into a room and the whole room was laughing at a joke that wasn't funny. And I thought, oh God, if I ever get like this, please shoot me.
So let's talk about the shutdown in the last couple of minutes. What did you make of what happened last week in Schumer's turnaround?
Schumer? It's ridiculous. Schumer, I understood his explanation that if he's like, they'll close it down if they get to decide what to open. I'm like, they're already doing that.
Right.
I was like, so slow or fast, does it matter? You haven't been able to stop them, so you might as well take a stand. I'm on the AOC side of this business. I know Fetterman and everyone else, and I'm not being careless. I get it, but it's like, I would Mitch McConnell the shit out of these people all the time and twice on Sunday. Be non-cooperative. I don't think it has a political effect. What has a political effect? The bad economy is what has a political effect. And so the people in power always suffer from the bad economy. Now, it didn't work one time when Ted Cruz did it many years ago, if you recall, trying to get rid of Obamacare. But that's Ted Cruz. Right? And that people liked Obamacare. People do not like these cuts. They do not. You can see it in poll after poll. Kristen Soltis Anderson had a great piece in the New York Times today about that he is very vulnerable. It's this piece. She's a Republican pollster, by the way. And let me read this pertinent part. But as I dug into Mr. Trump's data, it looks increasingly like the American voters' mandate to the president was more narrow than he sees it after a prolonged period of inflation with Biden administration that told Americans not to believe their lying wallets. Voters clearly wanted the next president to stabilize the economy and make their cost of living more manageable. So they do not welcome him in this misreading of the mandates. They want a president who is going to help them do that. And so they didn't think he was going to do this much this soon. So one of the things, they don't like the tariffs, they don't like the economy, they don't like the price of eggs. He's just overreaching. And I think it's a big mistake. And I think that Kristen really nailed it in that regard. They sent him to Washington to be a change agent, but not quite this bull in a china, as she calls it, a bull in a china shop approach. They're going to give him leeway, but they're not going to. The number one issue in America remains the number one issue. There are real political risks to a strategy that has voters to grin and bear it in the checkout line today for the promise of something better tomorrow. I would agree.
And that's what his top aides are saying. It's like, yeah, give it time. This country's going to be so wealthy.
Why should they? Who told us that? Some guy who's a Treasury Secretary who lives in a $22 million house. I don't really want to get. I was listening to him, and I have some money. I do well, but I was like, fuck you. Like, what? I can buy a flat screens TV anywhere I want. It's none of your business. It was very like, get the fuck, get off my lawn, dude, like kind of thing. So.
Last question. Why do you think Democrats just seem so lost at being able to fight this move to fascism? Because
first of all, they overstated the case. You know what I mean? Like if you go to Hitler right away, you can't walk it back, right? I mean, Hitler did kill 6 million people, right? And Trump could be killing a lot of millions of people with this USAID thing. That could end up being the case with these cuts. But in that regard, I think when you start there, you don't have anywhere to go. Like Hitler's pretty much the top evil person in history at this point. And so one of the things I think they do is they're not making the basic case that this guy doesn't care about you and the economy, and like the economy sucks and the rich people are getting rich. And, as much as you want to scream about everything else, that has a very resonant thing in regular people's lives. They can't, if you tell them, okay, democracy is dead, you're like, oh God, really? Do I have to fix that? Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like in their heads, they want to hear like solutions based. And one of Scott says this a lot, it's you can't be the party of no and restrictions. You want to be the party of hope. And here's our plan. I did a really good interview with Rahm Emanuel. He said, here's the 6 things we're going to do, and keep saying them. And if they don't agree with us, well, we tried. We told them what we wanted. We wanted more money for education. We wanted more money for this. We wanted more money to get you job training, whatever. And they don't do it. We'll say, well, we asked them and we asked nice. They just wouldn't give it to us. So I feel like that was 100% right. So, I don't know if that's going to matter, but the Democrats don't have a cogent message. And unfortunately, because they're Democrats, they tend to disagree more than Republicans. Republicans always get in line, right? Always get in line.
Well, they almost all got in line. That's the thing. It's like, what made Schumer change his mind at the 11th hour?
I just think when you're trying to save everything, like if there are bombs going off and you're trying to save all the babies, and the other person doesn't care about the babies, like, you're fucked, right? You're sort of fucked on some level, on some deep, deep level. And I think that I suspect, they're trying really hard to be we don't want to stop, these people from getting cuts, the homeless from being affected. We care for this person, this person. I think there are better ways of defending those people than giving it all up, right? There's lots better ways to do that. And I think that they don't understand that in any way.
Yeah. Kara, always a great chat. Come back and talk to us again soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. This episode of The Back Room was edited and produced by me, Andy Ostroy. It was co-edited and co-produced by Matty Rosenberg and co-produced by Jen Hammoud. Our theme song was composed by Andrew Hollander, and our logo was designed by Cricket Langell. And special thanks to Patricia Wind. Please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, and also follow or subscribe. Until next time, keep your eyes on Washington, Hollywood, and your own backyards, and have a great week.